have some breaking news on this Thursday morning as Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles have traded for a wide receiver. I've been talking about this on the show for weeks that Philadelphia needed to add to their receiver core. Wide receiver 3 has been a little bit of a question mark for this football team throughout training camp and the preseason, and Howie Roseman strikes. You're watching Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making this show a part of your day. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now as we approach 80,000 subscribers, because whenever there's Eagles breaking news, regardless of where I am, I'm going to get in front of this camera, hop on the microphone, we're going to dissect it. I got wrapped up with the workout this morning. It's kind of my off day just because of our watch party schedule. I saw the breaking news alert. I had to rush home so that we could talk about this trade right here on Eagles Now, because this is a big move for Philadelphia here. As for the trade details, I like the value of this move for Philadelphia because they're fulfilling a position of need. The Eagles are trading for Jahan Dotson, the Commanders' wide receiver, former Penn Stater, and a very highly touted recruit coming out of high school. And this is a rare in-division trade in the NFC East. Haven't been a lot of these. Now, several years ago, Philadelphia, if you remember, did trade Donovan McNabb, their quarterback, to the Washington Redskins at the time, but these inter-division trades don't always happen. Philadelphia sending a 2025 third-round pick and 2 seventh-round picks to Washington in exchange for Jahan Dotson. That according to a multitude of reports that have been put out there on social media. And here on this show, we've been talking about how the Eagles need to trade for a wide receiver. You have AJ Brown, you have Devonta Smith. It's one of the best wide receiver duos in the National Football League. That 1-2 punch is absolutely elite. AJ Brown has become this generation's Julio Jones with the physicality and the body type that he has, the all-around game that he possesses. He is a fantastic player. And over the last 2 years, since getting traded to Philadelphia from the Tennessee Titans, another fleece move made by Howie Roseman, making the Titans look bad as they have egg on their faces, AJ Brown has put up the 2 best production seasons for any wide receiver in the history of this organization. So he's your number 1 wideout. You have Devonta Smith, who if he were on other teams, he would be a number 1 wide receiver. He's more of that slick route runner. Obviously doesn't have the bulk to his frame and the physicality to his game that A.J. Brown has. But Devonta Smith plays a lot bigger than his size. Excellent footwork, everything to his route tree. He does play bigger than his size, and that's evidenced by his ability to really go up and get it, climb the ladder, come down with those 50-50 balls. I love how he can make some of the contested catches along the sideline, and he has a little bit more speed and elusiveness as compared to A.J. Brown. But one of the reasons why I've been talking about why the Eagles need to bring in a wide receiver 3, and in this case it's going to be Jahan Dotson, if A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith were to get hurt, you have massive question marks at the wide receiver spot. Because so far in training camp, the Eagles have experimented with Parris Campbell at wide receiver 3, 4-3 guy, but for him being a speed threat, he has a career yards per catch under 11, and he's been injured so much throughout his career and in training camp. You have John Ross, a former 4-2 guy, who I haven't really seen that type of separation. He too has always been hurt throughout his respective NFL career, and he's been hurt again. So Parris Campbell, John Ross, they have this long track record of being injured. Both of those players hurt over the last couple of weeks during Eagles training camp and in the preseason. And while they've been good stories, Campbell trying to have this rejuvenation to his career. John Ross hasn't played in an NFL game since 2021. He retired, trying to make a comeback. That's cool and all. But you need a better wide receiver 3 here. And then outside of those 2 players, you have Johnny Wilson, who's 6'6", but a rookie, and at Florida State had a lot of drop issues, played smaller than his size, sloppy route runner. You have Anaya Smith, who in the pre-draft process tested slow, is smaller, and so far has played slow and has looked small. You have Britain Covey, and I like him as a possession type of wide receiver. I still think that he can be in the mix, but he adds nothing vertical to your offense, and he's simply not the player that Jahan Dotson is. Now, for those of you worried about the Eagles giving up this draft compensation before this trade, Philadelphia had 9 draft picks. They now have 7. They still have a 3rd-round pick, and they still have a 7th-round pick, even though Philadelphia is giving up a 3rd and a 7th for Jahan Dotson. Because going into this trade, and we talked about this on the live show yesterday, Eagles had their own 1st, their own 2nd, their own 3rd, a 3rd from the Dolphins, 4th from the Lions, their own 5th, their 5th from the Texans. They had 2 7th-rounders, so that was 9 total picks. Philadelphia still has 7 total picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. And we talked about this during the draft when Howie Roseman made the record 10 trades or something in that area, how he was maybe planning for the Saquon Barkley penalties for tampering. Eagles never guilty of that. And if it wasn't that, he was just racking up draft capital in the future to give you organizational flexibility, draft assets, and as Sam Hinkie used to say for the Sixers fans out there, optionality. And the Eagles still have that optionality. They flip a couple of picks for Jahan Dotson. He's also a very affordable player who's going to be under team control for at least the next 2 years. And if the Eagles exercise his 5th-year option because he was a 1st-round pick, you get him under team control for an additional year. So now you're looking at this Eagles offense where if AJ Brown, Devonta Smith were to get hurt, you don't have as many concerns. And if they were to get hurt prior to this trade, you focus in and you hone in on Saquon Barkley. And the passing game isn't as elite. You also have all this cap space, and you're in the Super Bowl window. My argument, address a position of weakness and go all in. That's what Philadelphia is doing here. They're going all in trying to improve this offense as much as possible, and I had mentioned it at the time that Howie Roseman's not an idiot. We talked about this on the live show yesterday. He understands this position needs to be a little bit better, and hey, you never know. Maybe he watches the show and he agrees with me that the Eagles needed to make a move. And you think about this offense now, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Gainwell, Will Shipley, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson. This is a loaded Eagles offense, and now Kellen Moore has all these options at his disposal. Now, I do want to mention Prize Picks as our sponsor for today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if you're looking to get into daily fantasy sports, download the Prize Picks app. Head to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for up to a $100 deposit match. There are over 5 million active members in the Prize Picks community. And you pick 2 or more players, you choose more or less on their projected stat lines. They can be season totals or for any given game, and it makes game day a lot more fun. So prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for up to a $100 deposit match, the proud sponsor of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's take a look at Jahan Dotson's numbers. Some people are going to tell you that Jahan Dotson isn't a good player, that he stinks. Look, has he lived up to the lofty expectations of being a first-round pick? Maybe not, right? But also keep in mind that Jahan Dotson has had bad quarterback play. In 2022, as a rookie, 12 games, 10 starts, 35 catches, 523 yards, 7 touchdowns. That is significant. 7 touchdowns as a rookie in 12 games. He's no slouch there, right? And then in 2023, once again, bad quarterback play, uneven quarterback play, inconsistent quarterback play as far as the production and who was out there under center or in the shotgun for Washington. He played in all 17 games, 16 starts, 83 targets, 49 catches, 518 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So the fact that Jahan Dotson has 11 touchdowns in his first 2 years in the National Football League, it's pretty significant. It's pretty legit production right there for him. Ran a 4.43 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process. He has really good natural hands. Just catches the football very, very easily. And I think this is a good trade for the Eagles because they're able to check the box of needing a wideout. There's a good combination of different skill sets at that wide receiver spot. Now you have a wide receiver 3 who gives you a little bit of speed. 11 touchdowns in 2 years is pretty impressive given the bad quarterback play for the Commanders. And him only being 24 years old, and you're sending a third-round pick out for him, and you still have another third-round pick. So the value of the deal, I don't know why that light just went off, but we're going to keep it moving. Dealing with some electrical issues, I guess. Contractually, too, there we go. The Eagles have Jahan Dotson, as I mentioned, for at least 2 more years. He has a $1.5 million cap hit this year, 2.7 next year, and he's a very affordable, cheap player under team control. So Howie Roseman striking again, and it makes us look good here on Eagles Now because I've been saying for weeks, upgrade wide receiver 3, upgrade wide receiver 3. Eagles able to do that, and they bring in Jahan Dotson here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll have some more content coming out later today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Watch party on Saturday. Eagles, Vikings. Can't wait for it. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and go Birds.